It's no secret that Georgia assistant coach Josh Crawford is under some serious pressure right now after just taking one running back in Bo Walker, 3-star out of Rabun Gap High School in last year's 2025 class. Georgia's got to swing for the fences, and they need to land at least one, if not two, of the best running back prospects in the country in the 2026 class. Now, they're sitting in a good spot for some of their biggest targets, and that's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. Where they sit with their biggest targets, some of their other targets, and when the big dogs are going to be coming to Athens for a big official visit this summer. So the first guy I want to talk about, as expected, is the number one running back prospect in the country, and that's Savion Haider out of Virginia. This is a kid that's been on Georgia's radar from the very beginning. He's no stranger to Athens, and he will be in town for his official visit the weekend of June 6th. Now, the team out in front that we've been hearing about for a few months now, probably dating back to even last summer into the fall, is Michigan. I think sources up in Michigan say that they feel really good about their chances with the 6-foot, 190-pounder, big physical kid. He's all muscle, but he's a slippery back, change of direction type as well. So he breaks a lot of tackles. There's a reason he's the number one running back in the country, but Georgia's high on his list as well. I know he's looking forward to that visit the weekend of June 6th. I spoke with him not too long ago, and he reiterated the fact that he is really high on Georgia. He said, quote, "Georgia's running back university for a reason. I could definitely see myself in that offense and being developed for the next level. They've had a lot of success there, so who wouldn't want to be part of that program?" Also, Coach Crawford, Coach Smart, and the staff really have built a great relationship with me. So I'm not saying Georgia's the leader because I think most people believe it's Michigan, but I would put Georgia ahead of Ohio State and Tennessee. So definitely a guy to keep an eye on. And listen, when you need elite backs, you need game changers, you're going to go all out for the best of the best. And Savion Haider is the best of the best. Now, the number 2 ranked running back prospect is a guy that Georgia fans should probably be familiar with if you've been on this channel. If you're on Dawg Post, you know all about Derrick Cooper. And again, all this information has been on the website for months now, right? So this is not breaking news or anything like that because Dawg Post members have known about these guys, and they have known, where Georgia sits with them and when they've been on campus and when they plan to return to campus as well. So if you want the latest, make sure you're over on Dawg Post so you can tell your friends about Georgia football and recruiting before they find out, right? But Derrick Cooper was a commitment for a sip of coffee or two, right, last summer. A versatile player. He can line up anywhere. He's a South Florida kid, Chaminade Prep. But Georgia's recruiting him to play running back, but a running back who can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a versatile type of back. You can put him in the slot, and he's going to make some plays. He's the number 2 running back prospect in the country, number 23 overall, okay? So this kid's elite. He ran for 905 yards and 13 touchdowns while, playing a little receiver, playing some defense, special teams, all that. So while his numbers aren't really eye-popping, make no mistake, this kid can absolutely play. And he's got terrific hands as well. He's going to be on campus for an official visit the weekend of June 13th, so the week after Savion Haider. 6'1", 190. It looks like Miami, the local Miami Hurricanes, are probably the team to beat right now, probably Georgia's biggest competition. But this is still a guy that Georgia fans need to keep a close eye on. He's been to Athens recently, I believe late January. He was back on campus, and it's a big deal getting him in town whenever. But that official visit is scheduled for June 13th. Now, I'll say this before I talk about this next guy. You're not going to like it, but NIL is a big deal to a lot of these players, especially the skill players, the wide receivers, the quarterbacks, the running backs, the guys who are scoring touchdowns. They want to get paid big money, and other programs are offering a lot of money. And if you're Georgia and you need an elite quarterback, you need an elite left tackle, an elite right tackle, and you need elite running backs, right? This class should be focused mostly on offense. And if you need running backs, you got to pay for them. That's where the NIL funds are going to go. So if I'm Josh Crawford, I'm in Kirby Smart's office saying, hey, this is what it needs to get Savion Haider. This is what it needs, or what we need to do to get Derrick Cooper. These are the game-changing running backs that, we need right now. So, and I do think, and I've said for a while, that whoever they do sign at running back in this 2026 class, they're going to be in a position where they can play kind of early, depending on what happens with Bo Walker and Chauncey Bowens and Dwight Phillips, right? You never really know. They could always hit up the transfer portal, but at the end of the day, they want to get these guys at the high school level, develop them, keep them around, and have them go off to the NFL without transferring, especially at running back. So if, there's a price tag for Haider and Cooper and these other programs are offering it, Georgia's going to have to step up and kind of meet those demands. And again, Georgia fans aren't going to like it, but this is mini NFL, right? You got to go out and you're going to have to pay big money for the big time prospects. So if they can get that job done, I think Georgia's going to be in the mix for those two and this next guy the entire way. Now, this next guy is Xavier Crowell. He was a 5-star running back in the 27 class. He reclassified. Now he's in the 26 class, something that we're seeing more and more of. Seems like the top players always find a way to reclassify, but this is a young man who ran wild last year. He ran for just under 2,000 yards for Jackson High School in Alabama, 31 touchdowns, and he did it as a sophomore. This was going to be his junior year. He moved up, and now he'll be a senior this fall. 5'11", 200 pounds. He's the number 8 running back in the country now in this 2026 class, number 86 overall. Kid can play, but right now it's kind of shaping up to be an Alabama-Auburn battle. And as someone who, spent a few years living in Alabama as a young kid, that's not surprising, right? That state is divided, but Georgia's going to do their best to make an impression, but they're going to get him on campus the weekend of May 30th, and I reached out to him to confirm that, and he said, yeah, Georgia's recruiting me hard, and I'll be up for spring practice March 22nd, and my official visit is scheduled for the weekend of May 30th. So, again, kind of a bigger kid, 5'11", 200 pounds, breaks a lot of tackles, and again, when you're rushing for just under 2,000 yards, especially in the state of Alabama, that pumps out talent. That's really impressive. 31 touchdowns, incredibly productive. He's the number 8 running back prospect, number 86 overall. I feel like I just said that 20 seconds ago, but if I didn't, there you go. So those are 3 out-of-state running backs who are already scheduled or have scheduled an official visit to Georgia this summer. So I think the top 2 are going to be those top dogs, but I don't think Georgia necessarily leads for Derrick Cooper right now. They might. I just haven't heard enough to feel like they are. And I think they're probably running number 2 for Savion Haider. But they're swinging for the fences for the best of the best. And that's what you have to do if you're at the University of Georgia. But if they don't land those 2, it would be disappointing for the staff, but it's not the end of the world because there's a lot of really talented running backs across the country in this 2026 class, especially in the state of Georgia. I think there's at least 4 running backs in the state that are good enough to play at Georgia. Carson Baker is one of them out of Langston Hughes, 6 foot, 190 pounds, runs a 10.65 in the 100 meter, helped lead the Panthers all the way to the 5A state title game, ran for just under 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns last year. He went over the 100-yard mark 6 times. He's the number 18 running back prospect, number 207 overall. The kid can play. Solid 4-star. Seems like that's a Georgia, Ohio State, South Carolina battle. I think maybe Auburn and Florida and a couple others are involved there, but I'm hearing the most around Ohio State, and I think South Carolina is going all out for this young man. So Georgia needs to stay in it. They've got him on campus before. They're firmly in the mix. I just don't think he's their number 1 or number 2 target, but a guy that Georgia fans still need to keep an eye on from that Atlanta area. Out of West Georgia, Janaz Walton. This is a kid that has been running through defenses since he was a freshman. Kind of a thicker, compact running back, 5'10", 210 pounds, but he's got breakaway speed. He rushed for just under 1,400 yards last year, 14 touchdowns on the ground, caught 39 passes for 646 more yards at a 346 kick return yards. This kid is dynamic, and he will run through you. He's got a solid, he's got big old thighs on him, big old thighs. He will truck you, but after he trucks you, he'll take off down the field and just run away from defensive backs. Really impressive. He's the number 11 running back prospect in the country. Incredibly productive year after year after year. Number 107 overall. So this kid's not playing around. He is one of the best running backs in the country. If you're a top 15, top 20 back across America, you can play. And this kid can absolutely play. He's got a Georgia offer and has had one for a while. And then Jay Lamar might be the best of the bunch. He's not ranked in front of those guys, but he's the number 14 running back prospect in the country. So he's ranked between Janaz Walton and Carson Baker. But he's out of Colquitt County. I know, again, a big physical kid, 5'11", 205 pounds, sharing the load at Colquitt County. Rushed for 885 yards, 11 touchdowns. But every once in a while, especially at least once or twice a game, this guy makes like a jaw-dropping run where you're like, oh, wow, how did he just do that? Love his footwork, his balance, his speed, change of direction. This kid has it all, and I love his film. He's got a Georgia offer as well, so definitely a South Georgia running back to keep an eye on. But they're going after the best. That's what they should be doing, and a lot of them, especially the in-state kids, they're going to be on campus for an official visit too. I just haven't confirmed when that is. But the 2 top guys and a third from Alabama, 3 of the best across the country, have already scheduled an official visit to Georgia. Dogs need to land at least one of those. 2 would be ideal. Probably not going to work, but they need one of those 2 top big targets and maybe 1 or 2 more in-state, and I think they'll be just fine. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. I'll see you over on the website.